Hello and welcome to the Cosmic Heart Podcast. I am Jessica Hope, your host with Cosmic Heart TV. I wanted to go over some things today. This is actually my first episode back after several months of taking a hiatus. A lot of shifts have happened since the last episode. We're going to be talking today about conscious manifestation and creation. I don't have any guests today, it'll just be me. So, first, before we get into the more in-depth components of what I'm here to share today, I would like to give a precursor and just say I have never before taught in this lifetime what I'm about to teach to the degree and level that I am going to teach on this episode. And of course, there will be things that I don't cover in just the first one, but there are so many things that need to be brought to the light and shared openly as a conscious, normalized way of living and practicing, because we are in a state of evolution and awakening on the planet. And now more than ever, gatekeeping is not something that we should continue doing when it comes to the ancient teachings of the mystery schools and things that we have previously held from the public. We we do have genuine concerns when it comes to valid reasons of why we haven't shared openly certain things, but the teachings of the law of one that are of the light and of also divine order, it can only really be utilized by those who use them for the highest and greatest good of humanity. So when we understand this as fact, for the most part, we can dissolve the resistance and fears and worries and concerns about those who have malice intention for humanity, utilizing these teachings for harm. We cannot control what others do with their free will, and so when we give such powerful ascended master wisdom and guidance and teachings to the general public, um, we just have to acknowledge and accept what comes with it. So that being said, I'm going to start from the beginning. Conscious creation and manifestation is something that happens naturally. It's something that just is when we allow ourselves to sit back and be an observer of life, and we allow ourselves to understand and learn things from the point of view of the soul, the higher self. We understand that we are capable of great things. We are capable of creating just as the Creator does, because we are a microcosm of the macrocosm. More often than not, most humans get confused about many components and many things when it comes to manifestation and creation. And there are so many components and aspects to breaking this down to help it be understood in a generalized and simplified sense. So, for that reason, I won't be able to do that fully, but I will be able to explain things and teach things and give my perspective of what I am here to teach on this subject and all subjects, from my personalized soul perspective. And if that aligns with you and it helps you, then I hope that you're able to utilize it and apply it to your everyday life and do something good with it. If it doesn't align with you, it just means it's not meant for you, and that's also okay. So, that being said, from the very beginning for me, I realized that I could do things that I didn't see others doing. And I realized that I was different. And so, what I mean by that is in many different ways. I had stronger physique. I didn't get as tired as everyone else. I could run so much longer and faster than my friends. I would test my limits of my abilities, like swimming in a pool and holding my breath underwater for as long as I could, and doing things like practicing breathing underwater. And people would say, "Oh, how do you do that?" I don't know how to explain how I did it. I just know I did it. Um, Weird things that didn't make sense to a lot of people, I did, and it was normal for me. As I got older, I realized my intuition was very strong. I realized that I could tell if there was going to be danger around the corner, or if a person had harmful intentions or was honest or not. I realized that I could see through the BS of everyone. And I got to a point where I started being able to hear people's thoughts and their prayers. It's like I could hear the inner voice of everyone. And then I realized I could literally anything I wanted, I could bring it to me. Like if I wanted, just really, really wanted that one thing. And like, okay, funny example, but I don't know, those of you who remember Polly Pocket. When I was a little girl, I really wanted the Polly Pockets, and my mom said she couldn't afford them for Christmas or my birthday or something. And she couldn't get them for me, and I said it's okay, it wasn't a big deal. And then maybe a day or so later, she had a friend, and he showed up, and he brought exactly the ones that I wanted. And she said, "How did you know?" And he said he just saw them in the store and felt like he should get them. And so I thought, wow, that's so interesting. And I was so happy, I think I was in maybe sixth grade. And it's been a repetitive thing that's happened throughout the course of my life, where every time I really wanted something, it was like there was no doubt in my mind that I was going to get that thing one way or another. It was an absolute faith, knowing, and belief it was going to happen. And so through time, it started to develop into realizing that I could like use and manipulate energy with my hands, and like do healing or help my children fall asleep faster through energy work, or digestive issues that they would have. I would work on it with my energy of my hands and my willpower, and I would help them to be able to like have a bowel movement or stuff like that. I always had this extrasensory capability in so many different ways that for me was normal, but for others it didn't seem as much. And so the older I got, the more I realized that the things I focused on the most were the things that I had accidentally manifested. And I'll give you a really harsh example of that. Um, when I was a teenager, I ended up going to juvenile hall, and I was seen as like a troubled girl, troubled child. But realistically, it was actually because I was being abused, and I didn't want to be home anymore. So I finally ran away. And the more I was abused, the more I ran away. And then I was reported as a runaway. And then they put me in a place that should have never been. But um, I realized that the more time went on and the more it happened, that they kept putting me back in there. It was because I was thinking to myself that I was gonna have it was gonna happen again. And then one day I stood there and it was a very conscious moment. I remember where I was standing. It was an old house I lived in with my mom and my brother. And I remember standing next to the kitchen table. I was facing the wall. And I remember looking down and I remember thinking, what if I don't what if I don't think that? What if I just think never going back to that place ever again? What if I just completely erase it like it never existed? It just does not exist. That's not even remotely anything that could ever happen ever again. I'm safe and I'm okay. And from there, it's like it shifted. And I went through a lot after that, but not ever was placed in that place ever again. And then when I turned 18, um, a lot of things changed. But I remember certain moments where I started to really realize your mind, your mind and your energy really creates. And here's where it gets sticky and really tricky. And I love Abraham's teachings so much. Um, when we focus on the current situation, whether that be a lack of things that you wish that you had, a relationship problem or dynamic in a relationship you don't like, friendship issues, a job situation, drama in general, the problem. When you focus on the problem, you create so much more of it. And every time you focus on the thing you don't want and you don't like, you activate its energy in your energy bubble, in your energy field, so much stronger. So then, now you have this active vibration of energy in your energy field. And it's of the thing you don't want. And you're trying to manifest something that you do want. But this thing that you don't want is so prominent on your psyche and your focus of your mind and your energy and your emotion because it's upsetting, which is understandable. But this thing that you focus on, or these things, every time you put your mind's focus on it for a long enough period of time, you activate its energy stronger each time. So if you can see in your energy field, um, imagine it like a bubble. It's not quite like a bubble, but just imagine it like a bubble. And in this bubble, you have all these little, okay, like a soap bubble, like a the universe, right? And inside of this universe, your little universe, you have all these little galaxies. And all these galaxies are representations of your active things in your vibrational energy field. So if you can imagine, like every time you focus on something, on one of those little galaxies, like one of your problems, it grows. So the goal is to shrink it to where it's non existent. And by you do that by shifting your focus off the problem, you shift it onto the solution. Now, once you focus on the solution, usually it's about this big. But if, the more you feed it with your energy, time, essence, focus, mind, heart, body, soul, spirit, the more this solution ends up taking full precedence, full focus. It becomes the biggest, most prominent thing in your energy field when it comes to, in comparison to the issues, right? So the more that we focus on the solution, this is the most simplified way that I can say all of this. The more we focus on the solution, even when the problem is prominent, even when the problem, for example, is like being homeless or something really serious, or like having a health issue. When you have a let's let's talk about the health issue stuff. When you have a doctor and that doctor is telling you the percentage of people who survive or live through X, Y, and Z situations is this much. Or the worst case, which is just saying that there's no other option for the person, they're just not going to live for, however long. That's the most possible detrimental thing that a doctor can do to a person. What that does to the psyche is it essentially ensures that that person believes and manifests the very thing that the doctor is saying to them almost 100% of the time. And so when we can teach physicians and doctors and professional health professionals that it's extremely crucial that we teach them to be conscious of the words that they speak to their patients and people, because what the mind believes is the most powerful thing. We have monks who have sat with doctors who are professionals in tumors and the big C word, and and these monks taught these doctors that if they sit every day in meditation and envision those things shrinking and disappearing into light, they will be gone. And there was a doctor, I don't remember the name at the moment, and he ended up having a brain tumor. And obviously, the other doctors that he saw said whatever they say. This doctor, he said, I'm going to do my own research and I'm going to figure this out. And he went to another country. I think he went to Thailand. And he spoke to a monk. And no, he didn't go to Thailand. He went to Tibet. And he spoke to a monk. And the monk sat with him and explained how it works. And he said, every day you're going to sit with me in meditation. We're going to have a sit. And we're going to meditate. And this is how you're going to do it. By the end of his time with the monk, he got a brain scan. It was completely gone. We have so much more power with our minds than we think. And when we can genuinely use our minds as the most powerful tool that we have, we are capable of creating great things. So when we utilize our power in this way, we are able to co-create our reality. When it comes to conscious manifestation and creation, something else that it is important, in my spiritually professional opinion, for it to be fully understood, is we are not the only creator, and we are not the end all, be all, say all. This is the only thing that's allowed to manifest. We are a co-creator. of the bigger source of divine intelligence and creation. So when we manifest things, when we create things into our reality, it is imperative that we understand that as these things manifest, as these things appear and manifest into our physical reality, once they have developed in the spiritual and energetic reality, we don't control all of the how or the details or the ways that the outcomes happen. We have a set of goals, we have a set of what we would like to see happen, and we have a vision. But we must honor and respect the divine intelligence because it works with us. It is us. We are it. We are a reflection, but we are also a part of it. And so, in this way, we have to have respect. When when those who are more in their God or God and God or goddess power or essence try to brute force create, command things without understanding this respective essence of honor and respect for the divine intelligence, it is not going to be perceived by the universe the way they think it is, because there are levels and layers to how this all happens. And often, when someone tries to consciously create something, but with power and commands and things like that, often they don't word things properly, I've seen. And also, the universe responds to the energy and the vibration that it's receiving, not just the words. So when we manifest things and create things through command and anger, and this is going to be what the universe hears the vibration and energy of what you are putting out, and it will mirror that back to you through different circumstances and people. This is why so many teachings when it comes to conscious creation and manifestation, as I said, there's so many layers and levels to all this. But this is why so many teachings and channeled messages and guidance on conscious creating and manifestation are so important to understand all the different moving components, because reality is vibration is everything. And aligning yourself to the vibration, the vision, and the energy of the thing that you want or the outcome that you want or the life you want is the most crucial thing. What is understood that has to be deeply understood by humanity who wants to consciously create is one of the things is when you hear the words align to the feeling of what it would feel like to have that life that you're envisioning. When you hear that, listen, because it's vibration, it's emotion, and it's vibration. So when we're consciously manifesting and we're like, I want a beautiful home and I want to be a millionaire and I want to have this money and I want to have beautiful cars and I want everybody to be healthy and I want all these things, right? More power to you. And please continue manifesting your best life. But the biggest key, and this is a key, okay, this is a universal truth, the biggest key to manifesting this and really making it happen, and this is a very detailed thing that I'm going to try to break down, simplified, is close your eyes, hold your vision, create it with the most detail, with the most emotion, positive emotion, with the most smells, the tastes, the touch, the senses, the everything that you can include in that. And I want to invite you to create this vision so strong in your mind of what it would look like to have the thing that you're manifesting. And here's another very important part. Hold the vision, hold the line, and do not break away from it. So, what does that mean? When everyday life tests you, when everyday situations upset you, when your current issues in the reality of what you're dealing with in the right now moments make you feel things you don't want to feel, that don't align with that vision, constantly bring yourself back to that emotion and that vision. When you hold the line and you keep focused and you have an unwavering determination to achieve that reality of that vibration, of that physical manifestation you so deeply desire, that is when you make it happen. It takes an absolute determination and it takes an absolute dedication to masterfully, constantly hold the vision and hold the line of that energy and emotion that you have to continuously manifest for yourself in order to align to that reality. The universe will quantum shift you into that reality when you keep in alignment with it long enough. How long is that going to be? That's up to the divine. This is the part where we have to be able to trust in the divine plan, trust in the divine intelligence. And that can be difficult for a lot of people when they say, well, I had all these difficult experiences and I've been through all this stuff and it just feels like life dealt me a really hard hand of cards and blah, 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 blah. You're talking to someone that understands so much of that. But here's the thing. When trauma gets lodged in your auric field, when you go through abuse, when you go through difficult situations, all of those things become like little galaxies inside of your little bubble of your universe that is your soul, right? So these things over time, they get activated. You might go through a stressful situation. Those energies of stress, chaos, trauma, etc., they become stronger, they become more prominent. Then those little floating bubbles of energy, trauma, emotion, and chaos floating around in your field, they magnetize to people, emotions, places, things that are like those energies. They pull it to you. You then feel stressed, chaos, whatever, because this energy now has become active. It has become activated. And so those of us who have experienced a lot of traumas, a lot of stressful situations, a lot of abuse, toxicity, narcissistic behaviors from people, we specifically have had more of those energies in our energy field. So when you find yourself in a similar situation and you're dealing with a similar person or a similar pattern or a similar loop or a similar cycle or behaviors from people that you don't understand why it's happening, why you're experiencing the same thing again. It's because the energy of that trauma is still in your energy field and it has either not been healed fully or it hasn't been released, or both. And so when we find ourselves manifesting these situations over and over and over and over and over, feels like the same lesson repeats over and over and over and over and over. It's not just that it's a lesson, it is, in fact, you have yet to fully release that energy and emotion out of your field of energy because you were not aware of how to do it. Now, I'm going to give you ways that you can. Putting your feet in water and touching the earth with your feet is really, really important. Doing grounding practices, such as what I teach my students. Imagine pure light pouring through the top of your head into your body, through your chakras, down into your legs, out your feet, and pouring into the earth. This is a simple yet very powerful grounding practice. You can imagine tree roots made of light coming out of your feet. You can imagine cords of light. You can imagine crystals, whatever helps you. Just imagine that and do that. That's a perfect grounding practice that also cleanses your body from traumas and stored energy and emotion. You can go to the ocean and swim in the ocean if you have that option. Or any body of water. You can take a bath and put salt, preferably sea salt, in the bath. That cleanses and alchemizes stuck, stagnant energies and emotions in our bodies and our energy field. Almost 100% of the time, going to feel better after you use salt because salt is powerful in alchemy. What else? Sitting with healing meditation music. I mean, there's so many different things that you can do, but finding things that work for you to help release these stored traumas and traumatic energies and abuse energies out of your body and energy field is really, really crucial to ending these abuse cycles and trauma cycles and attraction energy to people, situations, and energies that don't serve our highest good, but we attract because it's active in our vibration. So hopefully this helps to bring a beginning of more understanding on how this kind of stuff actually works. And I feel that for today, I'm going to end this episode right here. If you have any questions or you would like me to elaborate more on anything that I shared here, I am more than happy to help you understand things. I am going to be talking more on this. I just feel that this is quite a powerful message today. And I would like to give all of you time to sit with the things that I shared. Watch this as many times as you need to fully understand. And I really want you all to know that I know you're doing your best. I know it's been a crazy time on the planet, and hopefully things smooth out soon, but we're all in this together. I only wish the best for you. I love you all, and I hope you have an amazing day or night wherever you're listening from, and I wish you the best.